right, Shalom. I want to get started by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rachach Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops at Great Millstone. I'm your brother, Rabbi Knapp, coming out with a lesson, Lord's will, is edifying to the Lord's elect. I got a cold, not a cold, but a halls. I want to get rid of that. But let's get into it. It says, let's go on to the news, see what's popping. It says, will the U.S. government partially shut down Friday? Here's what to know. Let's see what we need to know. Here it is. I don't even know how long it took for the last government shutdown, but the other issues, you know, things. There's so many things happening that you forget that we were just in a government shutdown, and it seems like it was just yesterday, and it was just yesterday. People couldn't get their food stamps. They were thinking about getting rid of it. They weren't going to put it in the new bill, and now we're back at another government shutdown. So we'll see what's going to happen this time. I think the problem is they want to defund ICE or something like that. Talks to avert a U.S. government shutdown have intensified in Washington, D.C., with officials reportedly moving towards an agreement in negotiations over the Duck's administration's immigration enforcement operation. It says Democrats have been pushing to remove funding for the Department of Homeland Security from a $1.2 trillion government spending package following the fatal shooting of 37-year-old Alex Preddy in Minneapolis on Saturday. 1.2 trillion. That's a lot of money, man. So the nigga got enough money to give it to ICE, but he ain't got no money to give it to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans when you need help. But he'll fund your destruction, though, without a doubt, man. He got all the money in the world to go to war with people. Tupac said that in one of his songs. He said they got money for wars but can't feed the poor. And that's exactly what it's like being under the so-called white man, man. He's a gangster. He's a thug. You know, all he wants to do is rob, steal, and kill. You know, and the Lord always been telling us about this dude, man. You thought the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American was a crook? Please, man. He ain't got nothing on the so-called white man. This nigga, he robs whole countries. You might do a little home invasion, get 20 years. This nigga will rob a whole country, no time served. Okay, you see the difference? U.S. media report that the White House and Senate Democratic leadership are nearing an agreement which would meet Democrat demands to introduce new restrictions on federal immigration agents. And I was just listening to Fred Flintstone, who he calls himself Tom Homan now. He was saying how, he said less people on the streets means, more people in jail means less people on the streets. Well, duh. That's why they gonna build these encampments so they can lock up you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. So they can kill your ass like they always been doing. They hate you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. They won't put you niggas to death. All right? That's why you gotta repent. It says it would mean 5 of the 6 spending bills could be passed before the Friday deadline, while the DHS 1 will get a short-term extension to allow time for more discussions on the proposed new restrictions, like around the use of masks by agents. So you worry about masks and shit like that, man. They do that shit because they don't want you to know who they are. That's what you disguise yourself. You can get away with more crime. People are, I can imagine if you had to identify one of these ICE agents who did you wrong. Good luck with that. He had a mask on that had a flag, and it was like an American flag with a one thin blue line around it. Fools, man. That's what he looked like. Yeah, he was about 5'8". What did he do to you? He put his knee on my neck. He called me a spick, a nigger, and a savage. He said I need to get out of his country. You ain't gonna be able to get him. The scriptures talk about how, what does it say? It says, they're not, in trouble as other men. If no deal is struck, the second shutdown within months will begin at 1 minute after midnight on Friday, January 30th. Yep, 1 minute after midnight. Friday, January 30th, that's tomorrow. Today's the 29th, I believe. So your government can shut down tomorrow. And he might break the record with this one. The other one was what? 2 months, I believe? Let's see how long that was. He might break the record with this one. Because the duck wants to fund ICE and immigration. He wants to get you people up out of here. And the Democrats are trying to stop that. So that's what the big issue is. They couldn't even come to an agreement to feed you niggas. So I don't think they're gonna be able to come to an agreement on ICE, man. I really don't. With all these protests and everything that you see going on, I don't think they want to agree. I think they want to fight. I think they want to fulfill prophecy. I think the Lord is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. How long was the last government shutdown? The most significant historical shutdowns include the shutdown under Donald Duck's second presidency, which began on October 1st, 2025 and lasted for 43 days. The 35-day shutdown in 2018-2019 during the Duck's first presidency over expanding barriers on the U.S.-Mexico border. The 21-day shutdown in 1995 through 1996. So after it passed 21 days, it'll be for the 30, and then 35, and then 43. So 43 days is about a month and a half. But it seemed like forever the way people were freaking out. It don't take that much time that's what we learned about you people. It don't take that much time for you to bug the hell out and start acting crazy. All they got to do is subtract your EBT card. Okay? So let's see if it passes that. Let's see if there's anything else on there. If there's any more. It says talks to avert a U.S. government shutdown have intensified in D.C., with officials reportedly moving towards an agreement in negotiations over the Duck's administration immigration. I just read all of that. How likely is the government shutdown? The spending bill has already passed in the House of Representatives, but needs 60 Senate votes to advance. I'm surprised they're not talking about Kristi Noem, because that's the big topic right now. The shit the rhetoric involved with the two shootings. Her view on those shootings shows you she's incapable of being in any position of authority. Just like the scriptures tell you about a woman. She shouldn't be in any position of authority because she wasn't imputed wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. It's not her fault. The Lord made her like that. 1 Timothy chapter 2. Let's go there. I'll start at 9. In like manner also the women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not broidered hair or gold or pearls or costly array, but which becometh woman professing godliness with good works. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach, this is the point, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing, if they continue in faith, in charity, in holiness with sobriety. So the point of the matter is it gives a lot of instructions on how a woman is supposed to be. And when you understand, these women, first of all, that outward appearance doesn't make you godly, man. You know, it's mostly you gotta obey. That's your good works. The people around you would speak good of you because of your good works. You might have helped another Israelite man out for some reason, whatever it is. Hey, that speaks volume about that one. He was hungry, you fed him. You know, that's good work. And the Lord notices that. You know, it's really talking about how an Israelite woman's supposed to be. But no woman's supposed to be in any form of authority. They claim to be righteous, right? That's another form of not following the scriptures, man. So now she's showing you why she shouldn't be in a position like that. She should be somewhere in the kitchen. I know it sounds derogatory to you people out here, but you women are going to want to be in your natural order, man. I was watching a video of this woman. She was so happy. Her husband had it all. Her husband had a big-ass crib. He had everything she needed. And she was in the kitchen dancing, having fun, man. He was tired just coming from home, and she was just so excited because she didn't have to worry about anything, you know? But now now you think you're equal to a man, so you got to go out here and, get it how you live and usurp authority over man so you can make yourself feel independent. That's not how you're supposed to be. There's nothing wrong. I mean, we're in captivity. You got to work. You got to do all these things, but there's still a way you got to conduct yourself. You don't want to be putting yourself in a position to transgress the laws. All right. So she usurps authority over man, and it gives you an example of Adam and Eve. Listening to the woman brought death and destruction. So she shouldn't be in any form of position. A lot of you women shouldn't be in any form of position like that. In high up positions. It's not that you're not capable of doing these positions. It's just that you cause confusion. She's over here speaking and calling her own people domestic terrorists. She can't understand that, okay, laws are being violated. But when the shit happened to her, I bet you she'd be like, hold on, you can't do that. Okay, so you see, so there's a conflict of interest. She ain't meant to be in that position. So she's going to be the reason why your government's getting shut down. That's the main. I'm surprised this article's not talking about that, man. 'Cause that's the main thing that's going on right now with Kristi Noem, with Mar-a-Lago face. Let me see what else it says. Okay, it tells you a woman will. Let me grab this. I'm thinking of another precept. A woman will set her house in order or something like that. I'm telling you, these phones, man. A woman will set her house in order, KJV. Of course it doesn't get it. Will set her house in order. I think I'm thinking about Proverbs 31, but I don't know. Yeah, no, it's Proverbs 14. Let's go there real quick. Behind the scenes, she should be, when a woman's in her righteous order, behind the scenes, she's doing a lot, man, to keep the man in her. Because a woman has power to understand things that are not, you don't have to speak it. She can see it. She can tell by emotions and things like that. She'll come up with a conclusion in order to get, to make things right without even saying anything to her. She's supposed to know her man without even, he don't have to communicate words to her in order for her to get it, man. She'll be on the job. She knows what to do. She can see, through the spirit what needs to be done. A righteous woman. Proverbs 14:1. Every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. And she's plucking it down by creating this environment of pretty much lies. She don't want to take into account any accountability. But like I say, when you meet a woman, you could kind of tell what kind of household. You meet somebody's woman, you see that you can kind of visualize how her house is. Depending on what's coming out of her mouth. And she's a representative of your government. So it shows you that your government's not really in order. Proverbs 14:2, he that walketh in his uprightness feareth the Lord, but he that is perverse in his ways despiseth him. In the mouth of the foolish is a rod of pride, but the lips of the wise shall preserve him. The point is, you pluck down your house. Okay? That's what she's doing. But it's not saying anything about her, Kristi Noem for some reason. What the hell is... Anyways. Your government about to be shut down. It says Dux Bordazar to speak in Minneapolis as he takes over city's immigration crackdown. So we're going to see what he's going to do better than Bovino. He ain't going to do anything better than Bovino. He's going to, if anything, he's speaking nicely. He said that, if they had more cooperation, they would need less ICE agents on roaming the streets. So he's probably going to tone it down for a little bit because there's other issues that are going on. Mark Rubio went and spoke to the, I forgot where he was, but he was speaking on how they were asking, why didn't you come report to Congress about going into Venezuela? And he said he got a trigger operation. He said something around a trigger operation, meaning he had a, it was, depending on the information he was given, he had a short window in order to go in there. He ain't have time to talk to Congress. So that's the type of government that you have. That's a out of order government. He's bypassing the chain of command on how they do things, and now he's saying he can justify why he does what he does without talking to Congress. So when he wants to send ICE agents into your communities to come and get you motherfuckers, he don't need to speak to anybody about it. He don't need to tell anybody. I had to go in there and get those so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans like that. I had to hurry up and do it too, because ultimately, Revelation 12 and 12. You got a trigger operation, he said, but let me grab this in Revelation. Revelation chapter 12. I'm going to start at 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. And that's symbolic of the war that's going to happen with the Yahweh Shai and his angels against you heathen governments. All right? That's Michael, the archangel. That's a high-ranking angel that's going to destroy you. Him alone can destroy pretty much everybody, but he's going to bring him. He's just going to bring extra just to show you, man, you ain't got no chance in hell of doing anything. That the Lord allows you to do the things that you do. You don't have no power down here like you think you do. And the Lord's going to manifest that. When you see when he opens up the heavens and you got to fight. Like it tells you in 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter. So that's another war that's coming too. It's not called World War IV, but that's the war right there. You're gonna go and you're gonna have to fight it. These governments gonna have to fight against the Lord, and the Lord's gonna win that battle. Revelation 12 and 8, and prevailed not. See, they're not gonna prevail against the Lord. Neither was their place found anymore in heaven. Heaven's talking about rulership. Okay, they're not gonna be in power anymore. See, when you're in power, that means you're in heaven. When your laws are being implemented, that's heaven. When your laws are not being implemented and you being oppressed, that's hell. When you going through the transatlantic slave trade and getting beat up by nasty-ass people, that's hell. The basis of men, who went through that? The nation of Israel went through that under these damn crackers. You're going to be calling us crackers when we get in the kingdom, because we're going to crack the whip on your back. We're going to be crackers then too. Beating the shit out of you. You're going to be called a nigga. Ignorant fuck. We might even call you black too. We might call you black in there too. Because that's a derogatory term, man. This nigga be calling the nation of Israel blacks. That's a curse. That's a byword. That's a proverb. It's really a byword. So he got to pay for all of that. And he got the rest of these nations. He got the rest of these nations doing the same thing. That's how the Lord got us hidden though. That's why they call us the 12 tribes, lost 12 tribes of Israel. We're hidden in plain sight though. Because of this covering cast, the Lord used this nigga to bring upon us. But he's getting out of heaven. Revelation 12 and 9, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And so his angels are these military, his military. Okay, the people who are serving him to fight against the Lord. So those angels are going to be destroyed. We're angels too, we're angels, because angels means like a messenger. Okay, but his angels are going to be those who fight against the Lord. Kind of like Independence Day, when that big, huge ship was over Washington, D.C. and he blew it up. And then Will Smith came in his chariot and he just flew in through the thing. That's not going to happen with the Lord, man. That's Esau's vain imagination thinking he could get the victory. That ain't going to happen with the Lord, man. This dude's out of his damn mind. He thinks he can win with just one man alone. He gonna send a Jake to do it too. It's not gonna work like that. You all gonna be destroyed. Revelation chapter 12 and verse number 10. And by the way, Satan and the devil's talking about the so-called white man, that old serpent who deceiveth the whole world. So he deceived the whole world into thinking Cesare Borgia's God. Democracy is good. Homosexuality, that's great. He deceived the whole world, man. He got you thinking that wickedness is good to do. But the Lord's going to use him as an example of what you're not supposed to do when he bring forth that judgment. But you're going to see the wrath of the Lord. He talk all this love shit. We're going to see how much love he get when the Lord come back and not meet you as a man like it tells you in Isaiah 47. He's going to destroy him. Isaiah 63 talks about how it's going to be it's symbolic of him stomping out grapes. That's what he is, man. He a grape to be stomped. The Lord got a grape of cluster that he going to preserve, and he got a grape he going to stomp. And that's Esau and the rest of these heathen nations that's coming up against, ultimately that came up against the nation of Israel, because he's redeeming his elect. He's coming to save his bride, okay? Kind of like in that movie Django. Django came on a horse. He was in the house. He killed all the so-called white men in there, and he saved his wife, man. And he took off on the horse, and he had the wife dancing on the horse. That's symbolic of the salvation that he has for the nation of Israel. But the horse in this case would be the chariot. When you read Revelation, the 15th chapter, we're going to be looking down, watching our enemies get burnt alive. And we're going to be rejoicing, we're going to be drinking wine, and it's going to be a beautiful day. Just like when the Lord dies, he calls that Good Friday, right? Well, that's going to be a good day when his ass get put to death. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12, and verse number 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. That's why we overcame the so-called white man's system that he's about to put in place with the blood of the Lamb. So we're covered with Yahweh blood, and that's only the elect. Okay, not everyone's going to be covered with the blood, which means you're going to pay for your sins, man. We all sin. We're all as an unrighteous, a filthy rag, a minstrel cloth. But the Lord pardoned some of us for our iniquities. And we got the testimony. We got the testimony of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. So that's a token. That's a sign that we got. That's a sign of our salvation. That if you got the testimony of Yahushua, that you probably covered with the blood of the Lamb, because that's him supping with you. All right. Revelation chapter 12 and verse number 12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, which is the so-called white man, is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time." So he only going to be ruling. This is it. That's why you see in these policies, he's working hard to get rid of himself. So we gotta rejoice in that, in his fall. Okay? Because his fall is your rise. A lot of y'all don't want to rise. You like to stay down here and be treated like shit because you're suffering from Stockholm syndrome. You think your oppressor is your friend, and he's not. Anyone that oppresses you, you need to be saved from that person. Okay? And he oppresses a whole nation of people. Okay? Which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That nigga should be riding the bus. That nigga should be going to work. And you should be chilling, laid up, kicked up, reaping the fruit of your labor. But you're not. You're going through the curses in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, and this nigga's reaping. But the scriptures say that the plowman shall overtake the reaper. Let's grab that. Let's grab that as a matter of fact. The plowman shall overtake the reaper, KJV. Amos 9 and 3. No, Amos 9 and 13. "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes him that soweth seed. And the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt." So the hills ultimately talking about these different governments too. That shall melt. But the plowmen are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You plowing, you working, you're a laborer. Okay? And who reaps your reward? Look on your dollar. Look on who you got paid taxes to this April. And then that will show you who's reaping. Who's taking of your labor? You ain't got a pot to piss in, and this nigga still getting money off of you. And he's trying to find new ways to get more money out of you. Jerome Powell just came out yesterday. He was talking about not increasing the Fed rate. He said that your inflation is somewhat high, but sort of stable. But this nigga's trying to get rid of him, so he don't want stability here. So that's why we got to trust in the Lord. Isaiah 33 and verse 6. Let me grab that. Because his money, you can't trust this nigga, man. I'm calling the so-called white man a nigga. Okay, that's what he is. He's a nigga. He's a spick. He's a savage. All right? He's all those things he calls somebody else. He's a monkey. He's a dog. He's all of that. All right? I know you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, y'all don't like the sound of that, but hey, it is what it is, man. I'm not ashamed of the Lord's word. If he hates him, I hate him too. You ashamed of him because you got to work for him and shit. Nah, the Lord provides for me. If the Lord gives me strength to get up and go to work, that came from the Lord. He could just take your strength away. Now, what job you going to go to when you ain't got no strength to work? And who gives you that strength? Isaiah chapter 33, verse 6. Not the so-called white man. I'll start at the top. Isaiah 33 and 1. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled, and when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. Now that's talking about Esau. No one dealt treacherously with him to cause the things that he was doing. Taking people's stuff, robbing and killing them. The Native Americans this nigga was suffering from scurvy when he came over here. Scurvy, imagine looking at a so-called white man with scurvy. His skin starts coming off, the nigga look like a zombie. And they healed this nigga, man. They healed him. He would have died on his own. He could have survived these winters, man. We taught this nigga how to do this, man. The Northern Kingdom. And what do you get for your labor? He killed your ass, man. He killed you. All right? So he got to pay for that. Isaiah 33 and 2. O Lord, Yahweh, be gracious unto us. We have waited for thee. Be thou their arm every morning. Our salvation also in the time of trouble. That's right. Be our salvation also in the time of trouble. We need to be saved from our enemies. When you read Luke, the first chapter, it tells you what salvation is. Zechariah's prophecy. All right? It's that we be from our enemies. Our enemy, the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. That's Jacob's enemy. You might not want to believe it, because this nigga will tell you, oh, everyone loves everybody. Because you're a damn fool. You're going to see how much he loves you when you send these ICE agents to come take your kids, man. Separate you, send you to a different part of the world just like he did before. And that's what you get because you didn't want to hearken unto what the Lord was telling you to do. All he wanted you to do is repent. You got to eat the whole roll. There's bitter and sweet in the scriptures, man. You got to read Revelation, the 10th chapter. The prophets had to eat the whole roll. I'm sure back then Israel probably had some Edomites that were cool too. And the centurion I was thinking about was Cornelius. That's an Israelite man who probably was cool with some Edomite, his Edomite counterparts. You know, but he still understood. He was a righteous man, so he understood that you know, that there was the importance of serving the Lord and obeying Him, even though he was he was a Roman centurion. Okay, so that wisdom and knowledge, man, that's important. Isaiah 33 and 3. At the noise of the tumult, the people fled. At the lifting up of thyself, the nations were scattered. So when the Lord lifts up, He's ready to do some work. Okay, and that's what He's doing now. That's why you see the things that are going on in the world, because the Lord is starting to perform His work. What's that precept? Psalms. Let me see. I'm ready for the Lord to work, something like that. Let me grab that. It's now time for the Lord to work, KJV. Psalms 119 and verse 126. It is time for thee Lord, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, to work, for they have made void thy law. So that's why it's time to work. They're trying to make void the law. What law? The Constitution? Is the Lord going to stand up so he can defend the Constitution of America? No. He's going to stand up so he can defend his law, okay? The law, statutes, and commandments that the so-called white man can't set up because he transgresses them on a high level. That's why he's called Satan. That's why he's called the serpent. That's why he's called the devil in Revelation, the 12th chapter. So you want to make void the law, the Lord's going to perform a marvelous work. He's going to make void you. Isaiah 33:4, and your spoils shall be gathered like the gathering of the caterpillar, as the running to and fro of locusts shall he run upon them. The Lord is exalted, for he dwelleth on high. He hath filled Zion with judgment and righteousness, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, the strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure, so the wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of the times and strength of salvation. So that's what's going to build you up in order to be saved. You got to endure unto the end. This wisdom and knowledge, not your gold and your silver, man. Gold's over $5,000, but that's a token, that's a sign that this nigga's about to be destroyed. You know, he set the doomsday clock to 85 seconds to midnight. That's a token, that's a sign that he's about to be destroyed. Okay? You're hearing another government shutdown. You're hearing people, more uproars of the people. These are signs, these are tokens that the Lord is doing his work. Isaiah 33:7, behold, the valiant ones shall cry without, the ambassadors of peace shall weep bitterly. That's right, the ambassadors of peace shall weep bitterly. That means you're going to be going to where there's no peace for the wicked, like it tells you in Isaiah 48 and verse 22. There's no peace for the wicked. The wicked's not here to bring peace. They're here to bring war. That's it. Against you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. There's no peace until you're in power. All right? Isaiah 33 verse 8, the highways lie waste, the wayfaring man sees it. He hath broken the covenant. He hath despised the cities. He regardeth no man. The earth mourneth and languisheth. Lebanon is ashamed and hewn down. Sharon is like a wilderness. And Bashan and Carmel shake off their fruits. Now will I rise, saith the Lord. Now will I be exalted. Now will I lift up myself. That's right. Now will I lift up myself. He about to bring destruction to this nigga, man. And the scripture also is symbolic of Sennacherib. After he took down the northern kingdom, he thought he was prideful in thinking he could take down the southern kingdom. And what did the Lord do? He stood up. He sent an angel. He destroyed the nigga, man. So that's the same thing that's happening now. He's going after the northern kingdom with ICE. He's going after you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. He tells you in Isaiah 59 and 19 that he's going to stand up and he's going to lift up a standard. He's going to lift up a standard because he's always lifted up a standard against these heathen. He ain't going to allow this nigga to come in and just do whatever the hell he want with you. He calls you the apple of his eye because if something's the apple of your eye, man, you love that thing. So out of all the things you love, man, he's going to protect what you love. Okay, Isaiah 33 and verse 11, ye shall conceive chaff, ye shall bring forth stubble, your breath as fire shall devour you, and the people shall be as the burnings of lime. As stones cut up shall they be burned in the fire. So you're going to be destroyed of thermonuclear destruction, like stubble, like hay. It burns quick, all right? And that's what Esau is. His ultimate destruction is when he get burnt up in the kingdom, but his kingdom going to be destroyed. Isaiah 33 and 12, and the people shall be as the burnings of lime and thorns cut up, shall they be burned in the fire. Hear, ye that are far off, what I have done, and ye that are near, acknowledge my might. That's what you're going to do. You're going to acknowledge the might of Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashim, Rachach, you're going to see it, man. You're going to acknowledge his might when he destroyed the so-called white man, because that's what he's created to be. He's created to be destroyed. Okay, I was going in Revelation 12. Am I finished with that? I don't know. You're going to acknowledge the Lord's might. Isaiah 33 verse 14, the sinners in Zion are afraid. Fearfulness hath surprised the hypocrites. Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with everlasting burnings? That's the question mark. Which one of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are going to get burnt up when the Lord returns? Because what are you doing, man? You out here serving the so-called white man. That's your God. When the scriptures tell you that, he don't even look like what you serving. So you acknowledge, you pick up the book. A lot of you say, you ask somebody, you ever read Revelation, the first chapter? They're like, yeah. Oh, so you guilty as charged. So you've heard the word and you rejected it. Okay? So you're a hypocrite. The sin is in Zion. Sin is when you transgress the laws of God. A lot of y'all, that's what y'all do. 1 John 3 and 4. You transgress the laws just like Esau because you follow his God. His God loves the world. It tells you in 1 John 2 and 15, if you love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So the love of Jesus, the love of the Father is not in Jesus. And Jesus is not the Most High God. He said, my Father is greater than I. When you look at a greater than symbol, that don't mean equal to. They're two different symbols. To show you there's a difference between the two. But you transgress, you don't acknowledge, by you saying that, you don't acknowledge the Son. You don't acknowledge the Father, so by default, you don't acknowledge the Son. If you put them both in the two. Okay? You're a hypocrite because you act. It's a hypocrite. When you're a hypocrite, hypocrites are actors. Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with everlasting burning? So that's talking about the thermonuclear destruction that's coming to Babylon. He that walketh righteously and speaketh uprightly, he that despiseth the gain of oppressions, that shaketh his hands from holding of bribes, that stoppeth his ears from hearing of blood, and shutteth his eyes from seeing evil. So that's the elect. Okay, they're not taking bribes. They're not stopping his ears, that stoppeth his ears from hearing of blood. They're not being involved with these this wickedness. Okay, I think I'm thinking about Proverbs, the 20th chapter kind of goes into that. Proverbs chapter 20 and Proverbs, I think that's what I'm thinking about. Let me see real quick. Proverbs 20 in verse where is it? Nah, I forgot where it is. It's not Proverbs. It's Proverbs, but I can't think of the precept. I can't even think of it. But he basically saying something about shed blood. Let me see. Shed blood. That's the only thing I can get out of this. Proverbs something though. Proverbs. Is this? Is it Proverbs 1? Let me see. Proverbs 1 verse 15. My son, walk not thou in the way with them. Refrain thy foot from their path. For their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. That's right. That's it. So this is describing the wicked. So the righteous ain't going to walk in that way. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird. And they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privily for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. And that's Esau. He take away the life of the owners thereof. Okay? He'll rob and steal you. And that's why we're not in those councils to do things like that. The righteous ain't, they standing up for the poor. Okay? They're speaking on behalf of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because for some reason they can't stand upon their own feet, because they don't got the spirit of the Lord dealing with them like that. But the Lord still got his counsel, just like, like Iran, for example. Iran, they speak on their behalf. They tell you, we'll go to war with you niggas, man. He already said, my finger's on the trigger. That's what he said. Okay? He said, my finger's on the trigger. Esau went and parked his Abraham Lincoln in the Gulf of Persia, and like pulling up like a damn thug. Imagine someone pull up to your block and he just sitting in the car looking at you like, what you want to do? And then the Iranians are like, man, I got my hand on the trigger. You know, that's what's going on right now, man. Just on the economic level, on a much higher level. You don't look at it like that, but that's some low-level nigga shit. Nigga calls it the Abraham Lincoln for a reason. Who likes Lincoln so much? What Cadillacs are you associated with? Fucking niggas. That's Esau. Niggas sitting parked up in somebody else's hood right now, threatening them. Because they having, like the police. You having a domestic dispute with your woman, and here comes Esau. He's outside like a damn police officer. Get the fuck out of here, man. And they just had some propaganda showing you a missile, a cruise missile that can guide along I forgot the name of it, but it can hit. They showed it hitting the Abraham Lincoln, blowing it to smithereens. If they saying if you keep fucking with them. So we're gonna see what's gonna go down with that. He's a thug, man. So back in Isaiah 33:16, he shall dwell on high, talking about the elect. His place of defense shall be the munitions of rocks. Bread shall be given him. His waters shall be sure. So you're going to eat, you're going to drink. So we're going to rely on the Lord for that, for those provisions. The Lord's going to provide us with what we need in order to endure to the end. Isaiah 33 and verse number 17, thine eyes shall see the king in his beauty. They shall behold the land that is very far off. Which is talking about Israel. Okay, we're going back. Thine heart shall meditate terror. Where is the scribe? Where is the receiver? Where is he that counted the towers? Yeah, where's everybody at, man? We're going to meditate terror. You know, the receiver and the scribe are people who, when you look it up, when people go to war, they document all that. Okay? They're going to talk about, all right, what do we get from out of this war and all of that? You ain't, you know, you meditate in terror. You're sitting down. You got your generals. You're thinking, how are we going to take these people over? Okay, and y'all talking about it. All right, we're gonna bust down the wall. We're gonna kill everybody here. That's meditating terror. Coming up with war plans to take over a country. That's meditating terror. So this is a mock to those who thought they could come do that to Jerusalem. Now we're gonna have you in that same. We're gonna meditate terror on you. How are we gonna do this, nigga? You know what? Let's bring him out to outer space, right? And watch him freeze to death. All right, let's bring him up here. Since he wants to go to outer space so much, he think he the eagle. Let's bring him all the way up. Let's see how far he can fly. It's the book of Isaiah 33 and 19. Thou shalt not see a fierce people, a people of a deeper speech than thou canst perceive, of a stammering tongue that thou canst not understand. Look upon Zion, the city of our solemnities. Thine eyes shall see Jerusalem, a quiet habitation, a tabernacle that shall not be taken down. Not one of the stakes thereof shall ever be removed, neither shall any of the cords thereof be broken. So when we get back in the kingdom, ain't no one gonna move us again. A stave is what you hold down a tent with. So once he establishes us back into the land of Israel, we're never gonna be removed. There ain't no nation coming up against us after that. That's called salvation, okay? Everlasting salvation. That means there's never gonna be a point in time in the future where another heathen nation is gonna come into the land of Jerusalem and do what Sennacherib did, or the Romans did, or the Greeks. There's no more Macedonian period where you gotta fight for our laws and try to establish that again. It ain't gonna be like that anymore. It's gonna be an everlasting salvation, meaning we're gonna rule pretty much all these heathen. All right? Not pretty much, all of them. Isaiah 33 and verse number 21. But there the glorious Lord will be unto us a place of broad rivers and streams, wherein shall go no galley with oars, neither shall gallant ship pass thereby. For the Lord is our judge, the Lord Yahweh is our lawgiver. The Lord Yahweh is our king, he will save us. That's right, he'll save us, man. That's him lifting up a standard. And then he saved the nation of Israel. Isaiah is talking about that time when Sennacherib sent Reb Sheka to come and get us. And the Lord lifted up a standard. He was trying to put fear in you too. I forgot who asked him. He said, "Yeah, can you speak to us in your language?" He was like, "No." He didn't want it. He wanted everyone to hear what he had to say. Because he thought he was going to take over the nation. He thought he was going to take over Judah too. Until 185,000 people got slaughtered by one angel. And Esau's going to learn that, and you rest of you heathen nations, you're going to learn that. When the Lord sends the Michael the archangel and the rest of the Lord, okay, you ain't going to be able to do anything against him. It tells you in Daniel 12, he's coming to be, he's going to be a defense for his elect. That's a mighty defense, man. I don't know what angel killed the 185,000, but if one angel can do that, imagine what Michael the archangel is going to do. It tells you in the book of Psalms 34 and 7. Let me grab that real quick. It says that the angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. So that's what Michael's going to do with his elect. He's going to deliver them out of whatever trouble they find themselves in. So that's power from the Lord. He might give you spiritual power. You might not even know what's going on, man, but he's going to deliver you from out of any situation that you're in. Isaiah 33 and verse number 22, for the Lord is our judge. I read that. The Lord is our lawgiver. The Lord is our king. He will save us. Thy tacklings are loose. They could not well strengthen their mast. They could not spread the sail. Then is the prey of a great spoil divided. The lame take the prey. And the inhabitants shall not say, I am sick. The people that dwell therein shall be forgiven their iniquity. So that's talking about us. Esau going to be the prey. The lame shall take the prey, man. The lame person, let's look that up as a matter of fact. Maybe they can explain it better. Isaiah 33 and 23. Isaiah 33 verse 23. 33 verse 23. Uses the metaphor of a broken, helpless ship to describe the sudden downfall of Israel's enemies, like Assyria. It says likely Assyria, whose rigging fails and masts cannot be secured. Yeah, you trying to bring in this ship. Fucks up the boat. That's Israel's enemies. So anyone that coming up against the nation of Israel, the Lord's going to defend them. He's going to destroy them. Okay? Consequently, the enemy's wealth becomes so abundant that even the lame can divide the spoils. So we're going to be dividing the spoil, just like what happened with Jehoshaphat. He had all these nations fight, and we just came and took their spoil. But it ain't really going to be like that, because they're going to be working. They're going to be bringing, you go to Isaiah, the 60th chapter. It talks about how the heathen nations are going to bring the forces of the Gentiles. Let's grab that. Let's grab that real quick. Isaiah 60. Verse number. I'll start at 10. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make my place of my feet glorious. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet, and they shall call thee the city of the Lord Yahweh, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. So, yeah, you're going to be bowing down. Okay? Everybody that had afflicted us. We grab this in the book of Isaiah 49 and 23. So they're going to be bringing their gifts and all their power. Just like your force. Your force you give to the Gentiles now. Your life force, that's your main resource. You give that to these heathen. When you get up and go to work, that's you giving your force to them. All of that's coming to us. Okay? All of it. Isaiah 49, verse 23. I start at 22. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will lift up my hand to the Gentiles and set up my standard to the people. And they shall bring thy sons in their arms, and thy daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders. And kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me. That's right. They shall not be ashamed that wait for me. You're going to be licking the dust of our boots. Not now like everyone else be doing, having the heathen bow down and kiss their feet. You ain't supposed to be doing that, man. I mean, they should be kissing your feet, but it ain't really the time for that. It's kind of carnal, man. You know, the elders went into that. I thought, you know, it'll be a shame that you got an Israelite, you might think he's a so-called white man, he kissing your feet when you're supposed to just be giving them the word. You know, that's the thing. It ain't the time for that. Just because you know, you always got to qualify that. The nation of Israel is scattered within all the nations. The true believers of the Lord are all colors and parts of life. He's gonna gather all of them from the four corners of the earth, but they got to hear the word. They're not gonna get offended at this word, man. They're gonna actually go look for themselves. They're gonna look it up. And they're gonna see that's what it says in the Bible, and they're gonna feel compelled. They're gonna know, like, shit, I gotta make my call on an election show. I gotta believe in Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua. You know, looking up these verses, reading them for themselves. Yeah, so people going into slavery coming to people, man. I'm not saying that because, oh, my ancestors were enslaved. I'm so mad about it. Oh man, you know, I'm just a mad, angry black man. I'm actually really happy, man. I'm really rejoicing. That's all I'm doing. I'm glad the so-called white man's going into slavery. You're not? Something's wrong with you, man. You must need help. I'm happy Esau's going into slavery, man. That's what his ass gets. Hey, that's what we got. That's what we get. I ain't even mad. When I see people talk shit about, we want to put you back in slavery, go ahead and try. Go ahead and try, man. The Lord said He's gonna lift up a standard. So if He don't lift up a standard for you, at least you know the Lord He ain't lift up a standard for you. So maybe you're not part of the number, but at the end of the day, you still gonna get that W though. You're gonna get the W because when we get back into the kingdom, we're gonna get them back. Shalom, King. You have a wonderful day, all right? Keep running into Jake. He don't stop, but the Lord probably want me to talk to him, man. You gotta stop though, man. Sometimes you gotta see brothers like five. I've seen people multiple times. That's when they stop. We had a conversation, you know, and you get your heritage back. Slick Beats, bliss, farm, love, and abundance. Shalom. Slick Beats, fire, laughing. Salam Abi, how is it going? I don't know what Salam Abi means. Okay, I ain't Muslim. I know you see a lot of people think my garment. A lot of people think I'm Muslim because of my garment. Hey, that's the garment the Lord put on my spirit to get. So He probably wants people to think I'm Muslims because He's not dealing with everybody. He wants you to think I'm some African Muslim. And that's good. That's good, man. All right, let me see. Am I done with that? So, and those Gentiles in Isaiah 49 and 22 are heathen. All right. Let's go to Revelation 3, verse 9. Showing you they're going to be bowing, man. Revelation 3, verse 9. I start at 7, as a matter of fact. And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, these things saith He that is holy, He that is true, He that have the key of David, He that openeth and no man shutteth, and shutteth and no man openeth. That's right. So the key of David is the ability to get this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to the elect. Okay, the Lord allows you to open or close, man, whatever it is. This wisdom's not for everybody, man. The wisdom's gonna it's gonna enter into your mind, okay? it's going to enter into your mind. You're going to get what I'm saying. If it don't enter into your mind, you're not going to get it. So it's really up to the Lord. It's a gift from the Lord, like it tells you in Ephesians 2:8. But that's the key, which is really the name of the Lord. That should spark the elect, because that's what you need to be sealed with. Okay, you need to be sealed with the name of the Lord, like it tells you in Revelation 7. All right, let's go to Isaiah 22 in verse 22. And the key of the house of David will I lay upon his shoulder, so he shall open and none shall shut, and he shall shut and none shall open. So going back to this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay? It's the Lord giving you the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, but the gospel is what is the key. Okay? You need to be, how can I put it? The key opens your mind, man, to the gospel or the Lord. All right? Or it shuts you off, or you cut off, and you won't get it. One or the other. Revelation 3 verse 8, I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. That's right. So the name, man, that's pretty much ultimately what the key is. But through that name, man, that's the beginning, you know? That's how you get to know somebody. Okay, it starts with Yahweh Shah. It tells you in John chapter 10 that I am the door. There's no other way you can get around it. You gotta acknowledge Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. That name's very important. Okay? The name's very important. Revelation 3 verse 9, this is the point. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. So there's people claiming that they're Jews and they're not. And the Lord's going to make them worship before your feet. Okay? Now, some of those small hats are actually descendants of Jacob, but not all of them. There's a remnant of all of Israel in all walks of life, man. So even with them, you gotta you know, you don't want to offend one of the little ones, but you don't want to be ashamed of the word either. So it's a thin line, because Esau is majority of those people, but there's some black Edomites too, because you are what your father is. Okay. Revelation 3 verse 10. Shalom, King. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So you keeping the word, okay? You keeping the word that was given unto you, you enduring unto the end. He gonna keep you from the hour of temptation, which is you being faced with that MOTB. Okay, you're gonna be faced with. He gonna make sure you don't get that, because you kept the word. That's the hour of temptation when you're faced with, just like the Lord. You know, he went in the wilderness. He was tempted of the devil. In Matthew the 4th chapter, he didn't drink 40 days or 40 nights. He didn't eat. He was a thirst. So the Lord's bringing all these things to test you, see what you're gonna do. His son showed you how to get the victory. That's why he's the example. Okay, so we got to suffer these things in order to get the victory. And what happened after that? Spirits ministered unto him, man. So we hoping the same thing. We get the same type of, we get the same victory. And it says, which shall come upon all the world. So everyone's going to be faced with this. Even your ICE agents, your politicians, your kids, everyone's going to be faced with taking the hour of temptation. People in different countries, there's nowhere you can run, man. Unless you're in some rural area that nobody's gonna help you at. You know, you're in some part of Africa somewhere, in the bushes somewhere. You might not have to get tempted with it, but it's gonna be short, quick, and easy, man. Not easy, but quick, meaning like it's not gonna be long and drawn out. Just like the MOTB, that was quick as hell. Look how many people, since they implemented that, how quick they were willing to go take the jab. That's gonna be it's a foreshadowing of what's gonna happen with the MOTB. So it's gonna be all quick. I mean, easy. Like a lot of people are gonna. There's gonna be a whole bunch of people that are gonna they're just gonna take it. You know, they had Nicki Minaj going to bigging up Duck yesterday. She was saying how this is my favorite president or some shit. I'm his #1 fan. She couldn't wait to get off that stage, man. These celebrities, you could tell, you could just see through the spirit. She didn't even want to be there. Who the hell want to be around a bunch of Edomites, man? That shit feels weird as hell. Just being around those people, they're not right. You can feel it. If you're a spiritual man, you should feel like you're around a bunch of devils. That's how you should feel when you're amongst a bunch of crackers, man. Like, these niggas are evil, man. I hope they don't eat me in this motherfucker, because that's how you should feel, because that's what they are. They're cannibals. They're bloodthirsty. They drink blood and shit. They probably did a sacrifice before they went up to the podium, right underneath your feet, right underneath the stage. That's the type of how sick these people are, man. Probably got dead bodies underneath there, and they got you speaking. Yeah, come up here. Come talk to the people and tell them you're, you know. And then she's looking at she's like, can I get the fuck up out of here? Like, so you can see it even in the celebrities' faces, man. They're going to be faced with taking the chip, too. I'm going to be surprised. They be watching these videos, too. They're like, damn, I wish I never took the bag. I want to cuss this damn nigga out, man. But I can't, because he going to put me to death. I signed a blood covenant. See? Because they're not the real celebrities. The real stars are the men of the Lord, man. It tells you in the book of 2nd Esdras, the 2nd chapter. He going to give them a crown. That's who it's about. And that name's going to be glorified forever. Just like our forefathers, just like Yahweh Shai. That's a name that's going to be glorified forever. And they elect too. Right? Revelation 3 verse 11. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. And I'm right there. Lord's will, this was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Shalom, Ababa Ball, and Kwame Yasharala.